I'm so ready. Let's get in because we started to see, I feel, some of these teams that were a little bit on the wrong side of the leaderboard, Toby, started kind of finding their footing on Miramar yesterday. And now, I hope that we can see these first 3 games. Maybe some of these teams that we had higher expectations of, rightfully so, honestly, get their groove back, as it were.
I think one of the big things that stood out in yesterday's games to me, not only all the crazy shenanigans that unfolded,
a lot of shenanigans,
but one of the things that I suppose you could say was different from the usual competitive PUBG we see across regions. Of course, we get a big variety, but still very few teams opted to split. And the teams that did try and split, they never maintained them for very long. Whereas we saw in the winners bracket and the group stages, teams were a little more ballsy, in lack of a better word, to try and maintain splits for longer, to try and play with more control. Here they know that teams will pull up on you. It is a little more Wild Wild West lobby, some of these teams that we've got playing here. And they just don't want to risk it. Like, sure, we can have one more compound, but if there's a full team crashing you at any given moment, we got to sit 4 together.
Well, you think about what happened in Game 1, everything was very chill. And then all of a sudden in Game 2, we had 5 teams crashing one compound, that warehouse very early on. And I think that put everybody on notice that, if you are going to do a 2-2 split early, you better be damn close to each other because you're going to have to support, because there is a very strong likelihood that these teams are going to just crash right on top of you as we get right in the middle.
Corn has a gun. Gustav doesn't. Get away, Gustav. He didn't reload it. He canceled his reload. Now the punches are going to become a crew. Will the punches win? They will not. Corn is going to find at least one. Now his second time around. Yeah, nope, not going to happen.
This is clearly all Sam's fault.
She did kind of jinx it, didn't she?
Clearly all Sam's fault.
Americano, Corn, they're landing together. Gustav denied of access to, to any playtime on the server. Barely even landed before he got taken out. I will say this, though, he did punch Corn's level 2 vest into pieces. So there's that. That is a punch. You can break if you can break a Kevlar vest with your bare knuckles, that's a good part. That's good technique. Good technique.
Got a good right.
Yeah.
And a good left. Man, that's just been it for FaZe lately, hasn't it? I mean, I feel like this is not the first time that we've seen them lose somebody very, very early on. To a team that maybe they just weren't expecting to be that close by. Yeah.
Again, I mean, what happens in the comps and whatnot, of course, we can't really attempt to know because only they know. But yeah, it is surprising to me that obviously Gustav must have, at least for a little while, seen those parachutes next to him, thinking maybe he was going to get the gun before. But the way I see it, there are enough compounds around there that he could just try and dipped, but who knows? I mean, maybe he was on the map. Maybe he didn't catch the parachutes early enough. Could be many things.
Might have saw one, didn't see the second.
Exactly. Yeah. Could be multiple things that play in. One thing's for sure, it is not the way they would have wanted to start out today.
Nope. But, chin up, FaZe fans. They're still in 8th. And honestly, more things yesterday to look, excited about, I would think.
Definitely.
I mean, I thought they had some really, really good coordinated pushes. Again, I definitely agree with AC that they probably should have won that game that the Sonics won, but the Sonics, again, just a really nice push on their part.
Yes.
So it wasn't anything that FaZe did wrong. It was just a matter of timing. So, but that was a really good sign, I think.
And we did see a lot of that yesterday, where even the team that comes out in defeat, it's like you could have replayed that scenario 15 times, and they would have probably still tried to attempt the same thing. The other team just had the perfect hand to deal with the play they were up against, and that's that's just PUBG in a nutshell. Sometimes there's only one play to go for, and in order for that one play to work, you kind of rely on the other team to make mistakes. But we're at a level here where the mistakes are fortunately few and far between.
Yeah.
And you got to come out victorious in all those.
Yeah, that's the thing. The things at a regional level, maybe just because of the fact that you have so many repetitions with the same lobby and you're so used to how everybody else plays, you're kind of have a good idea of what you can kind of get away with, what mistakes you can make and still kind of capitalize on. Well, once you get here, everything is just punished so quickly and so thoroughly that you can't really risk it as much. So
exactly,
we'll see what happens as Marcelic, the mountain goat, on the high ground.
He needed better reception.
Yeah.
So now he is up there, ready to feed the info across to his teammates.
Gs.
Well, I mean, the circle was quite literally as center as can be. The issue is, as center as can be, circles on Miramar aren't actually necessarily that easy to play. Not only is this one, I mean, this one can obviously go in multiple different directions based on where Phase 2 takes us. But when you have the very center be that big ridge line, the big plateau up towards Power Grid, and then just the Death Valley down in between Bicado and Hacienda, that's just not really somewhere you want to be traversing early game.
Yeah, I mean, and you think about where, I mean, obviously you're going to post up kind of close to where you landed most likely. I mean, you're just waiting to see if the hard shift comes with you or away from you. As Vinny gets away with one right there, almost gets knocked out of the vehicle. But you got to honestly think about what your rotation path is going to be. Like, what if this does hard shift away from us, what's the safest path that we've got? And that's where it gets really difficult because you don't know how these teams play this as well.
Also, we've seen so many times where when we get the first circle that is on an edge, pretty much regardless of where it is, there's always going to be one side that's pretty empty. Now, because it is as center as it is, even when we do get a hard shift, we don't have that empty edge anywhere because teams will have come in from, well, all directions. So the center is going to be much more heavily trafficked, which also means that when we, or if we do get a hard shift following a center phase 1 or center circle 1, the teams that are sat in the center of that first circle are going to have a very hard time getting to those edges because there are just that many more teams around them.
Well, slow start here today, but that's probably for the best for most of these teams. Really, just everybody get some minutes in.
Yeah,
you know, get to 10. No -3s, hopefully. Well, other than sweet Gustav, but no more -3s. How about that?
No more -3s. Well, I mean, again, of course, it's going to depend on where the next circle will take us. But for those of you guys who want a little PUBG trivia, we did change from 9 to 10 minutes for phase 1. I think it's about, what now? A little over a half year ago, maybe actually a little longer than that. But it's interesting to see how still, I mean, again, some of these players having played for many, many years, they're still playing like the 9 minutes mentally because they've been used to, by 9 minutes, that's when phase 2 pops. Now it's 10 minutes, and it has been for a little while. But usually we still see those teams be set up in the positions at the 9-minute mark because that's the way we've been playing for the last 3 years, and therefore that's the way we're going to continue playing. Americano takes attack. Diggory on his way to check out the position, but I think with one posted just on the other side, it's not something you want to put in on your own.
That was pretty good scouting there by ATC.
Yeah.
They just kind of stopped down to look ahead and see what was where Diggory was heading, and just trying to make that slow play, right? ATC scouts, Diggory goes, covers ATC while he comes by, and he takes a shot at Americano. Americano just dips,
and now there you go. That's the info. Did he spot Keen on the roof as well? That is. Oh, I wish. I mean, we've had eye trackers for some tournaments, but it's insane. Like you can see in the movement when they spot someone, whether it's scoped in or not. I mean, Diggory spotting too. That is crucial information. Not only does he see one on the roof, meaning he's here, and if he's on the roof, that's usually a sign that there ain't a lot of opponents around him, because if there was, he wouldn't be on the roof. Sees the second car coming down to fortify that position. Now he probably saw them cross the field as well, which should be the pretty clear info. If he left the roof, if that car left, there should be no one in that compound. That is, I mean, him, potentially, that's us theory crafting off of what we see that he sees, but that's potentially him getting all that info in a matter of 5-6 seconds.
Yep, pretty much got a read on 3/4 of where USG is.
Exactly.
And meanwhile, Gen G creeping up onto Power Grid now. They might hear Petrichor Road hopping these vehicles, and I think they should. So
it's not exactly a silent car.
Oh, now Bagopie actually, Taman creeping over here, getting shots into Petrichor. Now they were just trying to leave at this point, and now all of a sudden they hit the brakes. And Gen G, I think Asura maybe actually got an angle on that.
I'm a little curious as to whether, no, as you were saying, they are going to leave, because they do have a 2-2 split with Mill and Long sat over towards the concretes further southeast. And it makes sense, again, I mean, even if the circle goes west and they get to stay on the plateau, they already have a pretty decent position up there. And if it goes anywhere else, they don't want to be set in Power Grid. They want to be set further towards the east, be able to scout down the valley over towards Graveyard on the other side and be ready to make the rotation on through.
Bagopie still doing those big wide splits here, leaving Taman just off to the south of Power Grid. They've got Pio on the edge of Mikado, DGA 98 on the cliffside, and Songyang all the way down almost to Chumacera. So Big split for them.
And I'm glad that you mentioned it, because I've been waiting for this scenario where we have Gen G and
Right
Bagel Pass sat on top of each other. Two teams that are essentially playing the exact same system, the exact same format, which I guess we can credit PO for inventing. Then when he left, Gen G stuck with it. And now they're doing it too. Tainment gonna try and claim what Petrichor left, with the circle going back up towards the plateau. This is a brutal circle, and now he's gonna realize that there's an entirety of Gen G in this position.
Yeah, I'm curious. I thought Gen G took a few shots at Petrichor Road when Tainment was right on the other side, and apparently didn't hear him, and now barely gets the heal off in time to avoid the damage from the grenade. Right now, Tainment is just trying to pump the brakes on this, waiting for the rest of his team to arrive, but they are so far away, Toby. I mean, it goes hand in hand with what we were talking about, the big, wide spreads.
Gen G's going to fortify far before Bagel Pump gets up here to this position. In the meantime, everyone else are trying to get up on the plateau. So many teams were sat east of the Power Grid Plateau just before, so it's going to be very hard for all these teams to get up here. That's why we're now starting to see some of these battles unfold across the map.
Mission accomplished for Tainment, though, as he's managed to stay alive, and now the rest of the cavalry has arrived. They had GEX just off to the north, and they looked like they were going to sneak in, but then all the smoke clouds pulled away. Asura will find Tainment, and that'll be one down. And yet DG98 already pulling back away while PO covers.
Well, you sit in a wide split when you push up alone. It comes with danger. And that danger was too much for Tainment to handle in that situation. And meanwhile, everyone else, as I said, I mean, if you're looking at the map, far towards the south, far towards the east, we still have some of these standoffs. It's really only FaZe who's been able to maneuver around all the commotion by just doing a wide northern rotation over water treatment. And are now making their way up towards the circle. Marsalik will fall. We saw before Polish Power sat in a 2-2 split, but not longer. I believe he was actually up on the hills.
Yeah, he was on the top of that mountain still.
Knocked on the mountain top. Well, you know, there's got to be no one coming to pick you up there.
Unfortunate there for Polish Power, but they keep 3 up. They still have a nice little overwatch on the south side of San Martin. They should see Theraton 5 and Donuts inside the city itself. Meanwhile, PO, the rest of the Bagel Pop boys, just splitting around Power Grid, trying to find different angles, seeing if they can maybe catch Gen G slipping here. But so far, Gen G just staying inside the compound.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say, with them not really making a whole lot of sound right now, there is the potential that a third team pulls up on Power Grid. Not that I would expect to see it happen, because they would obviously assume that it's taken already. But maybe a team does pull up, and if that's the case, then Bagel, I think, is way too split for my liking. If you're going to play it passive, if you're going to kind of chill out for a while, just at least post 2 up together. In the meantime, Expendables, Sonics trying to fight their way up the hillside. Again, no one really wants to hard commit to it, because we know with the mountain sides it can still shift either way. And there we have Kabi finding 1 on the side of Theodan 5, but of course Marsalik went down in return.
Yeah, Expendables need to be kind of careful about this. I think I see Smell. Okay, yeah, Smell and Duckjuice looking off to the west. They have Petrichor just off to their west. They can't sit here and just free farm shots into Sonics in a compound, because at any moment Petrichor could decide to sneak on over here.
Norcus
but
as well could potentially
do have eyes, and yeah, as you said, Norcus for Polish Power also in that general area. So it looks like Expendables have a pretty good handle on their situation. Meanwhile, let's see where the next circle decides to take us.
Yep, circle. Where are we going? I'm loving this strike. Do we split towards the south? Unfortunately for them, not a whole lot will come of it. Hard up towards the north we go. Back-to-back hard shifts is what we're being given. And now again, I mean, all the teams that are have yet to make their way over the hillside up towards the Power Grid Plateau, at this point, you got to wrap around. You got to try and see if you can get your way either north or like east or west around, and you're just going to be running into trouble.
Yeah, if you can get west, that'd be huge, because right now the west and the north are pretty clean. I mean, FaZe has their choice of where they want to play. LG starting to look over in that direction as well. Duckjuice, meanwhile, they knew exactly where Petrichor Road was, and as soon as Petrichor starts to try to get back in the vehicles and get on the move, they take shots. Meanwhile, Tiamba, LG looked like they were hopping in vehicles, so looking to start heading off to the north, but instead they hold the line, and now Tiamba right on their doorstep.
Yeah, this next circle should be centering up to for the most part, so we're really going to be forcing everyone out into the open with the next circle. I think that's what teams are now starting to get aware of. Tiamba, as you can see, backfilling on Luminosity. They will of course have hurt the vehicles in Tang and 9. Well, they're going to be running straight into Purdy.
Yeah, I'm curious what LG saw or heard or what happened there, because it looked like they were, as soon as that circle popped, they were getting into vehicles and looking to move, and then all of a sudden they Slam on the brakes, and now Kurt by himself here. He does have some support from Luke on the hill, but immediately gets roasted.
There's no way
with the grenade prepped.
I thought they were leaving for a second. It's like, there's no way they just leave Purdy behind. But Alo and Penta are actually driving away. Oh, an off angle. Luke goes down. Things are starting to look difficult, and I guess this is it. Well, Purdy, we want to help you, but it's a little difficult right now, so you're on your own, buddy.
Yeah, they're in big trouble here as well, because now FaZe has started to take shots at ranges. Purdy will find 9. Doesn't get the flush, though. Let's see if he can hold the line. Flashbang comes through. Kurt goes out, but Tong is ready for it. Really gets the knock and the flush. They should be able to get this res on 9 as well.
Yeah, depends on whether Penta will get the off angle or not. Alo has come back to try and kind of help fortify the position. In the meantime, over towards Petrichor and Expendables we go. It's on the hard eastern side. We saw Expendables try and climb their way up the hill earlier. Now they're here. Petrichor there. As I was going to say ready and waiting, not quite the case. Ming caught off guard.
Yeah, it was a nice spray there. Start things off from 777. The flashbangs coming through, as well as the grenades as they try to make the push on Ike's. Left a little bit of damage could come through already. Levi's will clear out the knock. Mill coming up to support his teammate. The smoke wall laid down, but that's a great grenade from Levi's. Hits him right in the thigh.
Yep.
He'll be going down.
That was home-seeking almost. Very, very much on point. A 777 now makes the flank around the side. Mill is up close, and I think 7-7 might have heard footsteps, or at least read to some extent that he was there. Long finds one, so maybe that's going to slow them down, but not quite the case. No, Mill does go down, but Long once again able to trade him off.
And the whole time, this is getting shot in the back by 22 Esports way off to the west. So Smell and Levi's still up. Levi's will flush out their knocks. Not looking like they can maybe... Well, they are not even focused on trying to get these reses right now. Duck Shoes is going to go ahead and bleed out. They might be able to get 777. Looks like that's what they're going to do. Duck Shoes will go down as Long knows exactly where he is. Maybe hit the molly. Oh, he's actually getting the res. Hold on. Duck Shoes not dead. Wait. Okay, never mind. I'm tripping.
There's a big skull over his head.
Well, I didn't see it. There was a Molotov cutting. I'm sorry, Chad. I was getting excited there for a second.
All good, all good. Long finds one, runs out of ammo as the second one peeks over, and that's going to be the end of Petrichor. A little, unfortunately, benefit for Exalt, really, because, I mean, yeah, sure, they get the kills, but it wasn't really a fight for real estate they needed. Circles hard shifted up towards the north once more. We're just continuously bouncing these circles all over the place, and now, well, Open Valley and Plane Crash is what teams got to work with.
You got to give credit to the Expendables. I mean, they are just working through Petrichor Road like they're just nothing. And that is a good team. As another knock will come through on Alo. Penta now the last hope for Luminosity, but all eyes from FaZe staring over in that direction. Although FaZe need to be a little bit concerned about Tianba.
Yeah, I mean, I'm liking the split that FaZe has got right now, but it puts a lot of pressure on Diggory to not only be the info gatherer, but also kind of hold the fort inside the circle while Fex and 80 try to make sure that no one's wrapping in behind them. I like how they committed to this position, though. They've got to make sure that no one can fill in behind them and force in, like, essentially force a third-party fight going against FaZe here.
SGD trying to make their way up north. They got a little bit close behind the Expendables. Leo, no shots coming through just yet. He's feeding that information over to Sophia, and they were trying to do the same thing to Bagopie, it looked like, but Bagopie spotting them out before making their move. Now Tiamba has had to hit the brakes as they're trying to go north. FaZe has been holding them out well, so this southwestern side, Toby, is about to be very lit.
Indeed it will be. Smell does go down. Could only imagine PO. Now maybe not going to follow Nap Nate a bit too far close to take down the remaining two players. Though 7-7 is up close. Ready and waiting. Not going to find the first one initially. Does manage to get it the second time around.
Oh no!
To find Son Yang as well. And all of a sudden PO is all alone.
Big support coming in from Tiamba as 7-7 trying to hold the line. PO will find him, but the grenade will knock him very low as he hops in the Murado. He's got to leave his teammates. Hope for the best. FaZe is ready and waiting. Tiamba still have a couple left on that north side, though.
Huge that fight happens for FaZe Clan to now be able to, could only imagine, get that rest, because Tang has to go for the rest here too. Curry kind of caught down by the roadside, but with Striker doing the other side, it might just prove lethal for them. Can't quite commit to the rest just yet.
There goes LG as Penta will go down to the zone. A few teams in San Martin, that should be a little bit interesting there. You got Buriram, USG Sonics, and a couple of solos They're going to be trying to make their way out of the city. There you go. Buriram going to be spotted out by Shrimsy, so 1 down. SGD still have to make their way across the road, and that is going to be a tough sledding.
And speaking of San Martin, I mean, 3rd on 5. It's got currently Ranger up towards Plane Crash, and now Rosted is trying to make his way up there, but the entire server is going to be able to see him. And there you go, Korn, able to spot him in the open as he tried to regroup with his teammate, will go down. So a split maybe tried to be maintained for too long there by 3rd on 5, and it's, well, comes with a price.
Yeah, haven't really talked about them just yet, but Entropic have the really good spot in this circle. They have the compound, they have the hillside. SGD trying to make it across the road. A few shots coming through from Tiamba. Pio looking over in that direction just yet, not taking the shots though. He wants to be as sneaky as possible for as long as he can.
Oh, and Tang knows he's there, so we saw him looking that direction. Little does Strike it. Do we know though? Does it go for the AR? Well, he's thinking about it. Doesn't have a nade. Of course, Molly ain't going to do damage fast enough that it's going to have much of an impact, and maybe they'll see it mid-air, and that's just going to give up his position. So Pio trying to figure out right now, how do I make the most of this, well, pretty damn terrible situation.
Unfortunately for Chewy, Tang can't really give him any support either, as AT will actually find him. Tang is FaZe somehow holding strong here. 3 up, back on this, back up there. Is Diggory going to go down? AT going to go down to Shen as well, so all of a sudden, we applaud them for keeping 3 alive, and all of a sudden, just like that, down to just Vex.
Yep, they wanted the timing to be right. They thought that they were going to be able to take the fight with Tiamba without Trigaduri really interfering. Now they do, though. Pio has been able to backfill on this, though. Shen might get caught off guard. Shen, where's the going to be the one to find Vex? But do they hear Pio sneaking up right behind him? Shen, think you saw him. Saw him indeed. Finds him as well. Pio out. That's Bagel down in 11th.
Very, very close there for Shen. Is going up in a 1v1 against one of the greats.
That's a slow car.
And that car, yep, that's not going to be the play. Shen going to just go ahead and pull it on feet here. Meanwhile, Sonics have managed to creep up onto the hillside just on the north side of USG Donuts, who've just been holding it down inside their compound. Meanwhile, Entropic have retreated back to the compound on the hill, still 4 up. Sonics should be okay for here from this spot right now.
Yeah, at least for now. I mean, as long as Entropic doesn't do a whole lot to interfere from the other side. 7-7-7 in the meantime. I mean, you peek one side, you get shot by from the other. You peek the other, you get shot by from the side you're peeking initially. Not exactly in the best position. I guess, I mean, he is inside the circle, so there's that. But other than that, it's really limited right now what 7-7-7 can do from here. Now, I mean, this circle could not be more brutal. We are forcing quite literally everyone out into the open.
Well, the hardships have been in play already today, Toby Shen.
This is a very rare ending area.
It really is.
When have we ever been down this roadside?
I mean, so many times we see these circles end on an Entropic compound or in that plane crash area. GEX's area as well. We've got to give credit to GEX. 4 strong coming from that north side. They've got Gen G that is going to be gatekeeping from the circle. Meanwhile, Sonics take their attention over towards USG. 1 down, 2 down. Kind now going to take a shot from Tig. Shrimsy will get the re-peek in the smokes, making things a little bit complicated here.
A lot of flashes being blocked on over. USG trying to buy themselves some time, but H-Twin, Shrimsy, and Tig works together.
Really well done.
And they take out the entirety of the team. Solid play. That's going to give them much more space on the eastern side of the circle. In the meantime, GX, as you said, they've been backfilling. They've been playing it slow. 0 kills for them so far. Now, well, their first real fight of the game here.
Yeah, really well done there by Sonics, just taking their turns, peeking when someone's flashed as the grenades are coming over the top here, but not finding the home. Savior stops down to heal up a little bit. See him on that low side. See if he can maybe find an angle. But Asura, Remba, Adder, they're in the bowl. They've got Anonyx up a little bit higher behind them, and now Entropic's starting to creep out as well.
Yep, they finally find the snake. That's what prevented them from going anywhere. They knew there was still someone lingering inside the compound, and before they find him, they don't want to get backstabbed from anyone else. So smart little disengage there. In the meantime, I mean, for Gen G right now, as long as they can just play the ball, because it's GX who has to come to them. So they're throwing flashes, like they're throwing offensive smokes as well, trying to really prevent GX from getting any initial peaks down the ridgeline. Smart passive playstyle here from Gen G, forcing the blue really closer to GX.
Yeah, I mean, GEX, they've got Entropic that's just taking the shot. Oh, nice grenade from Adder will follow right at the feet of Zenon before he can even spot it. Now Yan Lee will try to take a few shots back towards Anonyx. GEX has to keep this smoke wall cycling, though, because Entropic otherwise just has free fire on him. Now Savior is trying to go for the wrap on the low side. May spot out the GEX boys when they're not expecting it.
Yeah, Yeah, I think GX really wants Entropic to try and shoot towards Gen G right now, but it's not quite the case. If anything, GX would probably be starting to shoot. Entropic would probably be starting to shoot towards GEX. Now, there aren't any players on the southern side of the two solos in Shen and Kroon. I think that's what they're realizing. Xavier now allowed around the side. Finds one, finds the second with the molly. 2 players now down for Gen G. More players starting to take damage from the same molly. All the utility being utilized in towards the center of this one. Azura, the only one in the bulge here that's really able to stay on his feet.
That was huge work from Xavier. God, imagine if he had a grenade. Unfortunately, it was just a Molotov. It'll take care of what's left of Gen G, but Entropic using that as a perfect opportunity to come make their move here. Xavier and SSR starting to move in, but Entropic will lose one as Polish Power does go down. Sonic's down to just Shrimzy, who wrapped way down south on the south side. Somehow Shen, I'm not sure if Shrimzy knows Shen is there.
I'm not sure either, but Shrimzy took the fight to Kroon. They knew there was a player back there. They lose 2 in the transition. The issue is Shrimzy is still not inside the circle yet, and they lost Mime in all of it. So I like the idea of an aggressive push over towards the other side, but where he's posted up is not gonna grant him anything.
Yeah, I think what it is while Nailip and Lucarux were watching Gen G and Gex, you had Ibis and QBE keeping eyes on Sonics, and they kind of forced them down to make that southern wrap that wasn't really ideal, but that's pretty much all that they allowed them.
Well, he got the kind.
Well, mission accomplished, you know?
That's a sacrifice for a vehicle. But then again, I mean, looking at the circle, look at where they've been forced to go. If that's the one car they have to work with, you know what? It might actually be worth it to tank a knock for that, because running down that hillside, especially now with players over on the other side, with 22 posted down on the roadside, it would be very difficult, if not near impossible. Broken helmet, no vest, no more bullets in the arm, and Shen finds Shrimzy.
Oh no, how did nobody else on the other side of the cliff see Shen come down? Okay, they get him. Oh, Haven! That is beautiful.
The pre-nade of pre-nades takes down 3, and that is the destruction of GEX.
Okizera, we've been talking about this kid for a long time, and now he's starting to show up here in the late game. Vinny and Haven now the last 2 remaining. QBE, I think the last one up, but he's doing work. Gonna get it the second knock, and now it's a 1v1. Do you go for the res? Do you go for the win? Haven is going to drop Molotovs right on top of them, but it's not going to land.
Not going to be able to get the res here. The Ibis, you can see already crawling forward, trying to crawl for info. Flashes are working, though. QBE trying to maneuver forward. There is mollies, there is smokes in play. There is a solo or knocked player, though, feeding info across from down below.
I mean, he's doing exactly what he should do, using his fallen teammates as cover. Haven not buying it.
Vinny is giving all the info. Okay, and there you go. The flush on the last doesn't want to give any info across. Now with the vehicle reversing down the hillside. Haven, what are you doing here?
Interesting decision. He pulls away, and he will actually get the 2 knocks. Okay, so now he's opened up a little bit of room for himself to work with. QBE has the hard cover of the cars, but the circle's starting to slowly crash in. Haven, one shot there. QBE, this is just a straight up 1v1 battle. Gets a headshot, QBE one more time, gets another one, trades it back. QBE giving just as good as he receives as Haven just laying the spray, and he finds it. 22 Esports get the win.
The jiggle peek into the headshot confirm. Haven, what a hero effort. Not only is he posted alone on the rock and 1 pre-now sends GEX flying, but then to come out in a 1v2 finish off there in the end as well. Huge game, very, very needed game for 22 who are sat down the bottom but now flying their way up the leaderboards.
Big time plays from big time players, and it is no bigger time than now that these guys need to make that kind of action happen. And Haven, we saw what he is capable of at PNC. Haven't so much seen it so far this tournament. 22, a little bit of a slow start, but he hops in that vehicle to open up so much more room for him to work around. Gets away with it too, and I mean, QBE, boy, he brought it all the way down to the end here, didn't he?
Did everything he could to bring it home, but Haven committing to the spray despite QBE looking for the angle, fights him in the last one there as well. You can see the smile on their faces, of course, frustration in the eyes of Entropic, but again, with how things have been going so far, this has been a good game for them, but there's just no, Entropic looking for perfection. They wanted to win here, and they fell short.
And don't forget about the grenade from Haven as well. It took out GEX. Well, let's throw it over to our analyst.